Oh, hello YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, we're playing a little game of If You Like This, Read That, Bridgerton Edition. I feel like almost all of you probably already know. Season 2 of Bridgerton on Netflix comes out on Friday the 25th. I am so pumped about it. Oh my goodness gracious. So I was thinking, hey, I've read all the Bridgerton books, and I asked myself, like, hey, what should I read next after I've read all of these Bridgerton books? And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come up with like some good recommendations for everybody else out there who's also read their Bridgerton books but want to read something similar. So hopefully you're gonna find some good recommendations, and we're just gonna go from here and just like have a total Bridgerton geek out session. Let's start off with book 1, right? So I have The Duke and I, and this is Simon and Daphne. This one is a fake dating type situation, and also the scarred Duke who has a seedy emotional past and needs to get over their hang-ups, one of those, scarred Duke, and fake dating, and then, you know, the redemptive qualities of love, that whole vibe. So if you're into that kind of thing, then I definitely want to recommend My Darling Duke by Stacey Reid. It's got a lot of the same vibes. My Darling Duke, again, has a scarred Duke, although this time it's a bit more literal. He has emotional scars and physical scars because he was burned in a fire and also has a spinal injury. And then you have Kitty, or Catherine, and she is a kind of a wallflower looking to make a good match for her sister, so she just kind of starts telling everybody like, oh yeah, that Duke of Thornton, like, we're engaged. I know no one's seen him in years, but like, don't worry, we were pen pals and now we're engaged. And like, everyone just kind of buys the story, and wouldn't you know, it gets away from her. So eventually Alexander, the Duke of Thornton, reads about his engagement in the newspaper going, huh, I didn't know I had a fiance. And then, you know, it kind of goes into like a little bit of Beauty and the Beast vibes, but it is fake dating because she just tells everybody they're together. That's kind of the most fake of datings that ever happened. And a scarred Duke, and also kind of a friends to lovers type of vibe. And, you know, also, you know, emotional scars perhaps are healed with love in this book as well. So yeah, I think these two have a lot of similar vibes. It's definitely a good pick. Book 2. The setting for season 2 of Bridgerton is The Viscount Who Loved Me, and this one is featuring Anthony Bridgerton, the oldest Bridgerton, and very grumpy, I guess. He's definitely a rake with a capital R, and also, you know, kind of very headstrong, I would say. And then you have his love interest, Kate, who's also equally as headstrong, and to deal with Anthony, you need a very strong kind of woman. So this one definitely falls into more of the enemies to lovers situation, where they just butt heads so much their clothes fall off. So that's a vibe, right? So for that, I would definitely recommend Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. I think it's got a lot of the same vibes going on. This one is about Sebastian and Jessica, right? Again, two very headstrong individuals who just butt heads at every turn, very much an enemies to lovers type of situation, but eventually they kind of grow to love each other, and then their clothes fall off. I will say this one is a bit more diabolical than The Viscount Who Loved Me, because these two are just, wow, this is very dysfunctional. Like, it's become so dysfunctional, it's flipped back around to functional again. Like, that's how dysfunctional it got. But it's got that same, like, butting heads, enemies to lovers vibe. Two people who are very much equals in their, like, craziness, and then they fall in love and they butt heads until their clothes fall off. Very much the same. Book 3 is An Offer from a Gentleman, and I'll be real, this is Benedict's story, and I hate it. This is my least favorite Bridgerton book by far. Honestly, I think it's kind of bad. There you go, I said what I said. It's kind of a really lame Cinderella type of story. You have Benedict, our second oldest Bridgerton brother, and he's kind of a sensitive guy. He's a painter. He wants to do those type of things, and he wants to be free, and la 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 la, you know, ooh, oh, you know, the problems of a very rich man type of situation. And then you have Sophie, right? She is hiding as a servant, but she was actually an heiress. It's very much a Cinderella type situation where, like, her money's gone because perhaps her stepmother stole it. I don't know. That's something to read in the book. But it's very much a Cinderella type story. It gets very on the nose because they're at a masquerade ball and she runs away in the night after they've and he tries to find her for a really long time, and it's stupid. I think she leaves a glove instead of a shoe, which is honestly better than the shoe thing, but still, like, it's very Cinderella, and Benedict sucks. Like, I don't like him. So I wanted to pick a book that I felt did the Cinderella type of thing, but better. So I went with Hit Me With Your Best Scott by Suzanne Enoch. Now this one is Cinderella vibes because we have Persephone, right? She is an actress, and she is also an heiress, but is hiding her true identity from her evil parents and stuff. So she is masquerading as an actress, and she's very much a lady who writes her own ticket. I love her. And then you have Cole McTaggart. He's a rough and tumble Highlander, and he's a Viscount, and he needs to find a wife. And he meets Persephone, and it's very much like, oh, hey, you're probably the worst wife I could pick for my mother's approval, so like, let's date. It's one of those, he's just trying to be antagonistic, but you know what, he also is very respectful of her, and he doesn't care that she has a past. He's like, I like you, I think you're really cool. And there's a bit of like a murder mystery in here, so like basically it takes like a Cinderella trope where a heiress is hiding as a servant or actress in this case, but like does it more fun. So this one has a murder mystery, it's got spiciness, and like all the characters are intelligent, and I don't think any of them are dummies like Benedict. So in the end, I would much rather read this than I would this. There you go, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't like Benedict's book, but we're doing it anyway. Moving on to book 4, I have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and this is Colin's story, and it's also my favorite of the Bridgerton series. I'm just gonna say it. I had a really good time with this one. So Colin Bridgerton, our third oldest Bridgerton brother, he has a bit of wanderlust. He's been traveling all over the continent and learning all these different cultures, and he's very worldly, and he's traveled a lot, and he's a writer. And then you have Penelope Featherington, and she is kind of like his sister's friend that he knew when they were like kids, but he's been gone for a long time. He shows back up and he's like, oh, like Penelope's really cool. Why didn't I notice this before? Oh my gosh, boobs! Like, you know, he's just kind of like seeing Penelope in a new light. And of course things kind of progress quickly, and they find out they're both writers for reasons, and they bond a lot with that, and then they fall in love for real. So it's very much a kind of a friends to lovers type of situation. And honestly, I had the hardest time finding a good recommendation for this one because it's kind of childhood friends to lovers, and I just wasn't finding a lot of good recommendations for it. So I went with The Good Girl's Guide to Rakes by Eva Lee, because this is also a good friends to lovers type of situation. So this one you have Kieran and Celeste, right? Celeste is his friend's sister and the only good girl he knows, because Kieran is a rake with a capital R, much like Anthony Bridgerton, and he needs to find a wife's dad or he's gonna get cut off. So hence Celeste and Kieran kind of form an arrangement here where Kieran will get introduced to nice ladies of society, kind of, you know, revamp his character in the ton, and Celeste will get to do some adventuring. She wants to go see the nightlife. She wants to have the rakish lifestyle for a little bit because she's always been the good girl, but she doesn't really want to be the good girl. Again, it's like a sibling of a friend, and then the romance, so it has vibes. I feel like they're similar enough. It's a friends to lovers with siblings and stuff. Well, not with siblings. It's friends of siblings, essentially. So yes, these two, I'm thinking they have like a through line between them. You could see how one would reflect the other. Moving on to book 5, I have Eloise Bridgerton, and Eloise is super headstrong. She is, she wants to write her own ticket. She wants to do whatever she wants. She doesn't want to have to ask permission to do what she wants, you know? It's a rough life for a lady in the Regency era, so she's kind of trying her best to live life on her own terms. Enter Sir Philip, her pen pal, and eventually he's like, hey, you know, you should get married to me because reasons. And one of them is that he has some children and he needs someone to raise the children because their mother has passed away. And then one day Eloise just shows up on his doorstep saying, hi, I'm Eloise, we're gonna get married now. One of those situations. So very headstrong, she wants to write her own ticket. She is looking for love, and she's like, I like you, you're it, we're going to get married. She's very decisive. So on that note, I had to go with The Highlander Takes a Bride by Lindsay Sands. Again, another super headstrong woman looking to write her own ticket. This is Sade and Greer. Sade is the only Buchanan sister. Basically, this whole series has all the Buchanan brothers and one sister. And so she's grown up rough and tumble with all these boys in the Scottish Highlands. And she wants, you know, to experience love, and she kind of just picks Greer. She's like, oh, I like you. We're together now. One of those situations. And of course, there's a bit of a murder mystery as well. I mean, there's not really a murder mystery in Bridgerton, but I think they're fun in historical romance. And also, more importantly, Greer actually likes that she's not like a proper lady. He likes that she's rough and tumble and she wants to write her own ticket. She's very decisive. He likes it, much like Philip does. He likes that she's like independent and learned and wants to know things and does her own thing. He likes her for who she is. So both of these books, I feel like Eloise and Sade would totally be friends. I feel like the through line here is badass heroines, and these both ladies are badass. Moving on to book 6 here, I have Francesca's story, which is When He Was Wicked. Now, Francesca's kind of the wild card Bridgerton. She's always off somewhere else in the other books. She kind of just grew up on her own a bit in Scotland with like an aunt, like a family relation. So she's always been off on her own, kind of very independent, doing her own thing. And she got married very young and also was widowed really young. But then there's Michael, who was her best friend and also her husband's brother. Michael's always been in love with her, and he just couldn't take it after his brother died. He felt guilty. He had to escape, so now he's back in town after many years and trying to rekindle the relationship with each other. So it's a bit of a second chance romance. There's also a lot of like medical drama going on here, so that's like a whole other thing with like infertility in particular. So that being said, I wanted to pick another like second chance romance after several years. So I went with Bombshell by Sarah MacLean. Now, the content of the stories, I would feel it's very different. However, like the pining from afar is very similar. So in Bombshell, we're following Cecily and Caleb. Back in the day, Cecily and Caleb had like a thing, right? And just before it was supposed to become like a thing with a capital T, Caleb left. He left. He said, no, I'm okay, I don't want to do this, and he left for reasons that are explored later on in the book. However, you know, Cecily's like, well, I'm not dealing with you again. And when you know, Caleb shows back up again and things kind of get rekindled a bit. But this one is also much more zany. Doesn't really have any of the drama that, you know, When He Was Wicked had. But this one has all of the pining, all of the second chance romance, all of that. Plus a cadre of like badass ladies whose goal is to take down the patriarchy, and they do so in many ways, including explosions. So I love it. I think if you want something more drama, you want to have a good cry, I think When He Was Wicked is probably the book for you. If you want something a bit more zany and you want something with explosions, I would say Bombshell is the book for you. So again, pining, second chance romance situation, but very different vibes overall. Moving on to book 7 of the Bridgerton series, I have It's in His Kiss, and this one is Hyacinth's story. Hyacinth's the youngest Bridgerton, and she's always been probably the most precocious Bridgerton. And she meets Gareth, who is also a man about town, a bit of a rascal, a rogue, so to speak. And they have to solve a mystery together. So it's very much like, oh, we have to find these hidden jewels. And like, it's a very much a mystery caper kind of story. And mainly with precocious characters, and that's why they work together. So with that setup, I had to go with Do You Want to Start a Scandal by Tessa Dare. I feel like these two heroines would be best friends. In Do You Want to Start a Scandal, we're following Charlotte, and she is a young woman, very precocious, looking to solve mysteries. And then you have Pierce, he's kind of like Regency era James Bond, essentially. He was a secret agent. And they come across a couple engaging in coupley activities at a party, and then everyone thinks it was them because the other couple leaves and they're the only ones in the room, and they're like, oh no, it wasn't us. So it's kind of a weird compromising situation that neither of them wants to be put in, so they have to find the couple who are the culprits of the things that were happening in the room. I don't know why I'm being so vague. It was a couple and they had sex in a library at a party. There you go, that's what happened, and everyone thinks it was them, and they're like, no. So basically, they're on the hunt for the couple who had the sex. Again, they have a mystery to solve. They have a mystery to solve. Both of them are very precocious ladies solving mysteries. Perfect. I think this is probably the best bet if you're looking for a very similar story. I think these ones work really well together. The last book in the Bridgerton series, book 8, On the Way to the Wedding. And this one is Gregory's story. He's our youngest Bridgerton brother. And, you know, he's kind of always grown up very sheltered, I would say, maybe. Like, basically, he hasn't had to really work for anything so much. He's the fourth son. Like, he gets everything kind of handed to him, essentially. So he's a bit of a layabout kind of guy. And he is looking for a wife. He's looking to, like, do better with his life. He's looking for a life change, right? He goes to this party. He sees this girl. He's like, this is the hottest girl I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh. Problem is, she's in love with someone else. Oh no. However, enter Lucinda, the girl's best friend, who's like, listen, that other guy she's interested in sucks. Like, I will help you get with her. Like, how do I do this? Like, what do I need to do to get you over there? So it's very much a friends to lovers, hey, I'm working with you to try to get you with my friend over there situation. It's the, oh no, whoops, I fell in love with you even though I'm trying to get you to date someone else. Oh no, that kind of vibe here. So if you're looking for a vibe like that as well, I went with My Fake Rake by Eva Lee. It is also about trying to attract another suitor when really these two should be with each other. This is Grace and Sebastian, and they've been friends for a very long time. Grace, she's like way into this scientist guy. She's like, I need to get him to notice me. I don't know how to do it. Hey, Sebastian, you got man parts. Let's like zhuzh you up. And then, like, you could be, like, a suitor to me, and then, like, people will pay attention, and I'll get to talk to science guy. And since, you know, they're best friends, he's like, okay, and then he kind of has rake lessons about how to be a rake, how to be devil may care, you know, Sebastian. And then, wouldn't you know, hey, Sebastian's kind of hot. Uh-oh, I'm in love with Sebastian. One of those situations. I kind of like them, even though they are frustrating at times. We're just like, oh my gosh, just kiss already. And then it takes them forever to realize, oh no, my best friend is who I should be with. Kind of the same here with Gregory and Lucinda. Obviously they're friends, and then he realizes, oh no, I'm in love with you instead because you're actually super hot too. That kind of situation. So it's a bit of like wanting to smack him upside the head, but you're happy when it works out in the end. Very similar kind of vibes here. So if you're looking for that kind of vibe, I recommend My Fake Rake. Okay, so that was like a whole bunch of recommendations for each of the Bridgerton books. If you want a good place to go after reading that book and you want something else like it, I hope these recommendations have helped you. I am super excited because Bridgerton premieres on the 25th. I am going to be doing a watch party with my channel members, so if you're interested in joining, join up here now and you can be part of the watch party on Friday the 25th. It's going to be a good time. Let me know in the comments down below, do you have any Bridgerton-esque recommendations that I haven't mentioned? If so, what are they? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!